The Florida Leadership Program for Agriculture and Natural Resources began in 1989 when administrators within the Institute of Food and Agricultural Sciences saw the need for an agriculture-based leadership program within the state of Florida and began the process of implementing such a program.
Agricultural leadership programs began formally in the 1970s with grants from the Kellogg Foundation. And the first 5 programs that were funded by the Kellogg Foundations were in Michigan, Montana, California, Washington, and Pennsylvania. Those programs were a model, became a model for programs that are now all over the country. There are 35 programs in the country today. Most are in land-grant universities, not all. There are at least 4 or 5 programs out of the country. There's one in Australia, one in New Zealand, one in Scotland, 2 in Canada.
Dr. Eugene Trotter was lured away from the very successful agricultural leadership program he directed at Michigan State University to come to Florida to assess the level of support for this program.
When Gene and I got to Florida, we had a huge learning curve because there are so many crops and so much more to agriculture here than in Illinois or Michigan. And we started out visiting with various people in the ag business and learning who the movers and the shakers were. And that was our first experience with here, but everybody was so warm and friendly. We just really liked it.
Florida Agriculture embraced the idea, and Dr. Trotter was hired as the director, and the first class began in 1992.
Dr. Gene Trotter was the only person that I've ever known that has been the director of 2 programs. He began the initial program in Michigan with the grant from the Kellogg Foundation. That was one of the founding model programs. And so Dr. Trotter got their program established and at some point left Michigan and came to Florida to start the program in Florida. As a result, the Florida program has been very successful. And the success of that program is implemented through the training of these agricultural leaders all over the state and improving the value of their own businesses, the association of agricultural businesses and farmers across the state, and solving community problems.
Food and Resource Economics professor Burl Long was brought on board as the faculty advisor of the program. Dr. Long and Dr. Trotter created a program experience that challenged participants to think in shades of gray and exposed them to the social, cultural, political, and economic issues that went beyond the participants' own experiences in agriculture and natural resources. Both Dr. Long and Dr. Trotter have been recognized for their contributions to the program and their impacts on Florida's agriculture and natural resource industries. Since the inception of Class 1 in 1992, 8 classes of the program have graduated with over 200 alumni who have now been through the program. Realizing the need for permanent funding for the program, an ambitious endowment campaign to raise $1.25 million was initiated during the early classes of the program with the hope of reaching this goal and ensuring the program would continue well into the future. This endowment goal was reached by the generosity of private sector Florida agriculture. A large contribution was given as a living tribute to George Wedgworth to honor his contributions to Florida agriculture. The program's name was changed to the Wedgworth Leadership Institute for Agriculture and Natural Resources.
We're very fortunate in the Wedgworth Leadership Institute to have the $1.25 million endowment that was raised by Florida Agriculture and then matched by the Florida Legislature. We're fortunate in that because in the last few years of the economic downturn, there probably would not have been a program with budgets decreasing, and again, the idea of leadership and who pays for leadership and is it a priority. We haven't had to worry about that, unlike some programs here in the United States that had to shut down because of funding sources drying up. Our program has been able to continue to grow and to thrive and to expand its offerings.
The intent of the program has always been to develop and refine the leadership capabilities of individuals within Florida's agriculture and natural resource industries who, in turn, will be prepared to become increasingly involved in policy formation in its many forms. such as policy that directly applies to all segments of Florida agriculture and natural resources, or public policy that will affect both the rural communities that participants live in and the future viability of Florida agriculture and natural resources, either in a direct or indirect manner.
You know, the Wedgworth Leadership Program is a tremendously important program to IFAS. It's probably one of the most impactful, what I call long-term extension programs we have, because of the impact it has on people's lives, both the participants, but also the people they interact with in the future, and it's just a tremendous asset to IFAS.
The leadership program begins with the individual. They first learn about themselves and their leadership styles, then they are exposed to how they can impact their communities. They learn about cultural, economic, social, political, and agriculture issues, and how these issues not only impact their communities and industries, but how they impact metropolitan areas, Florida, the U.S., and internationally as well.
You know, I think the best, most dramatic benefits of the program are the changing of the people's lives and skills that they've developed out of the program. I mean, their people skills, communication skills, and their personal skills that they've come away from the program. And it's changed the way they think about the world and about Florida, and how agriculture, natural resources, policy issues are developed, and the impacts of those decisions. I mean, I see that every time I interact with someone that's been through Wedgworth. I mean, I can see it in their core, the changes made in their personal life and professional lives.
The need for leadership within agriculture, natural resources, and rural communities only continues to grow. With that, there are approximately 40 other programs similar to the Wedgworth Leadership Institute around the world. These programs belong to the International Association of Programs for Agricultural Leadership. These programs collectively serve to build the leadership capacity in their state, province, region, or country through study and travel, and by exposing participants to experiences outside of their farms, organizations, industries, and communities.
Another value of the International Association of Programs for Agricultural Leaders is that over the years we have encouraged other states to start new programs. We've brought people into those annual meetings that have an interest in starting a program, and once they find the value of these programs to agricultural and rural communities, they go back to their own states, and several have started as a result of coming to our annual meetings. And we think that's a value for agriculture for the United States.
Collectively, there are now over 9,000 alumni who have gone through these programs. Their contributions have had a significant impact on agriculture, natural resources, and communities around the world. The alumni of this program are engaged and effective decision makers. The Wedgworth Leadership Institute Alumni Association serves as an organization reflective of Florida's agriculture and natural resource sectors.
I think the biggest, the most dramatic change in the program has been the organization of the alumni group. I mean, I think we've got the best organized leadership program alumni group of anywhere in the country. They're dedicated. When Hannah says she needs some help, they're there for her. They provide tremendous advice to her for the program. They help select the new participants every time we have a new program. So I mean, I think the Alumni Association of the Wedgworth Group and what Hannah has done to foster that group is probably one of the most dramatic changes. Obviously, we have more alumni now than when Gene started, but Hannah's kind of seen the value of that alumni group and has solicited their feedback and input into the program, and it's been a tremendous asset.
The Alumni Association continues to grow and provides opportunities for alumni to network, to receive continuing education, and to engage in leadership positions through the association. The University of Florida implemented a marketing campaign several years ago that simply stated, "The Gator Nation is everywhere." Well, it could easily be said that the Wedgworth Nation is everywhere too. Graduates of the Wedgworth Leadership Institute for Agriculture and Natural Resources are assuming leadership positions at the local, state, national, and international levels. From global seed companies to national commodity and industry board positions, to governmental offices, to school boards, to county and city commissions. The list goes on and on.
When Gene came to Florida, he didn't even know if there was going to be a program, and that was his goal, was to find out if they were ready for a leadership program. And after he determined that they were ready for it, then he went out after the funding, And the whole thing evolved with trying to get people who were willing to step forward and be the guinea pigs to go through the first class. And I talked to Hannah the other day, and she said it's still exciting to get people who are wanting to enroll in the program, so it hasn't lost any of its oomph, and it's still a very viable leadership program. And I think Gene would be so proud if he was here to see what Hannah's been able to do to carry on. And he was really tickled with the strength of the people who wanted to go through the program and how it evolved.
The program is truly at its tipping point right now. I feel like we have reached Dr. Trotter's original vision of providing leadership for Florida agriculture and natural resources, but now I feel like the program is expanding that vision into providing leadership beyond Florida into the ag and natural resources sector, nationally and internationally as well, with our alumni who are assuming leadership responsibilities and roles at all these different levels. And I feel like this is only going to continue to grow and evolve as the program continues to grow and evolve well into the future.
These individuals who are assuming these roles and providing leadership would thank the Wedgworth Leadership Institute for not only providing them a valuable leadership program experience, but also for showing them the need to step up and serve their organizations, industries, communities, and agriculture and natural resources as a whole.